Hi, everyone, and welcome to this Catholic Chat opportunity to interview another great Catholic. And I have today on my platform Steffani. Steffani is with hisgirlsunday, and she is doing a wonderful mission to help all of us live liturgically. So she's going to be coming on and she's going to explain to us just how do we do that? How do we incorporate our wonderful Catholic faith in our everyday lives? And she makes it easy for us. She's got so many wonderful resources for us to tap into. We can get an idea from her creative reels that she puts out.
Hello.
Hello, it's so good to see you again. It's hard to believe it was October when we connected because you were on the Holiday Shop, episode 2 last October. So how have you been?
Time has just flown by. It's crazy.
It always does, doesn't
Yes.
it? In the moment, sometimes we're like, oh, this time is really dragging, it seems like, and then the next thing you know, it's a year later. So I wanted to bring you back because you're doing such a remarkable job spreading the message of liturgical living. So first, before we dive into that, can you just tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Steffani, and I started a ministry called hisgirlsunday, which has since branched out into a blog called Liturgy Culture and Kitchen, and I am the director of liturgical life for a cathedral parish, and so this is my full-time work. It's my part-time passion project, and basically it all stemmed from living the liturgical year at home and sharing it with my community, and just realizing there's so much life and Catholic culture to be lived, that our ordinary days can be made extraordinary through the faith, and so I just dove into that, and that's what I do all day, every day now.
And I can't wait until you post your next reel. You just got one up that I just noticed about the bonfire sticks.
Yes.
And St. John the Baptist, and there you were showing your beautiful dance skills. You were doing some twirling there, and just beautiful. So Steffani really brings fun and creativity to her platform and shares it with us. So Steffani, if we were to ask you, what really is living liturgically?
So the way that I explain that to people is that you are living by and with liturgical year, which is done intentionally, will take you through the entire life of Christ. So the liturgical year is set up so that you live the year with Jesus, with Mary, and the saints, and you journey through the life of Christ year after year, hopefully gaining new insight and new relationship with Jesus through that, but kind of using the seasons and feast days and solemnities as markers of time that will hopefully transfigure your life.
Beautiful. And so we can celebrate even deeper the feast days and the holy days. We do Christmas and Easter as Christians, as Catholics, but what you had talked about on your blog, which I thought was a great way to think about liturgical living, is just to make like a mental shift and celebrate, as you said, the brilliance of our faith every day.
I'm trying to get rid of an echo. Is there still an echo? If someone let me know if there's feedback. I think the viewers are hearing some feedback, so I'm just trying to adjust. I saw a little comment. So repeat that last question. So going beyond the Christmas and Easter, bringing that into your day life.
Yeah, Yes, exactly. Like you had mentioned on your blog, and I want to invite everybody to sign up for your newsletter at your blog site and tap into how we actually bring that liturgical living to our. But you said in that blog, it kind of takes a mental shift, and how can we start doing that each and every day in our lives?
Yeah, I think one of the things that is really important is just kind of first creating an interior. We can't put things into action if we're not thinking about them. And so that's what I was trying to draw out there is that, when we decide that and you kind of do decide that we're going to be more joyful people, we're going to be more festive people. Without that mental shift, it's really easy to get sucked into just the day-to-day grind, going to work, taking care of the kids, whatever that is that's part of your routine. And that the faith and being festive and celebrating gets put on the back burner, gets shifted to, days when there's not anything else going on. And I guess my mission is to really help adults see that you can be festive, you can be joyful day in and doesn't have to get siloed into certain times of the year or certain aspects of your life, but it can be every day, right? And that's really what the church calls us to anyways. If we one of the things that I do is I study liturgical year, I study liturgy, and reading some of the documents that the church writes on this topic, on the topic of liturgy, is carrying that out daily. And so making a choice to, instead of following maybe the academic year, which is what a lot of us kind of get relegated to, is the academic year, transitioning that as a secondary source of information and letting the liturgical year be the first in prayer.
Yeah, I loved your suggestion on your blog. It's the idea of finding what feast day is celebrated on birthdays that you celebrate with your family and friends, or trying to connect a saint's name with the members of our family. So that's just a couple ways to do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're looking for a place to start, right? And I get that asked a lot. Where do I begin? There's so much there. And there is so much there. So I like to tell people to look at things that are special and significant to you and to your family, because that's what's going to be most natural, right? Like think about your anniversaries, your sacramental anniversaries. It's a no-brainer that we celebrate our birthday. Why can't it be a no-brainer that we celebrate our baptism anniversary? I mean, we do our wedding anniversaries. That's a sacrament. What about some other big ones, And then looking at special saints, like name days are really easy every year so my name is Steffani, but the closest related name is Stephen. So on St. Stephen's feast day, we go out for ice cream. It's really simple, but it marks time in a special way. And then the name, I think having a family patron, and to that point, is really special and really important, because our families need that guidance. They need that holy intercession. Whether you're single or you're engaged or you're married or you have a big family or a small family, it doesn't matter. You can have a patron that is walking with you always. I mean, our last name is Aquila, and so our family patron is Aquila and Priscilla from the Bible, the married couple from the Bible that helped St. Paul. And so we celebrate Aquila and Priscilla every year, and it just kind of reminds us too of our mission. It makes you mission oriented.
And in doing that too, Steffani, I think obviously you're being more aware and researching a little bit. You're digging a little deeper into the richness of our faith each and every day. Now, the month of June, as we know, is dedicated to the Sacred Heart. So can you give us a few ideas on how we can incorporate this beautiful devotion into our daily lives this month.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you my top three, but this is a really special devotion to me because when I got married, I stumbled upon what's called a home enthronement to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And now it's something that I feel like everyone should do. It doesn't matter like what season of life you're in, but what you do is you're essentially consecrating your house and everything that happens in your house, for better or worse, to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And you're putting that image in a prominent place. You're enthroning it in your home. And essentially you're putting it you're situating it in your little domestic church so that what you do in your home, how you act in your home, is as if Jesus were dwelling with you. And not as if, I mean, he really is dwelling with you, right? But it's that physical reminder that we sometimes need as tangible people to be like, okay, this place, this home of mine is my little church where I am day in and day out seeking to be holy. And there are times when I'm not being that holy, but I pass that image and I get that instant reminder of like, what am I about? What am I trying to be? Refocus, right? So a home enthronement is one. The second one that I encourage people to try is the First Friday devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus in reparation of sin. It's going to Mass on 9 consecutive months on the first Friday, receiving communion, and really letting your liturgical life be intertwined with the liturgy. I think that's very important. And then the third thing that I like to do is just a more fun at home thing. I like to light strawberries on fire. So I basically dessert, and you can't go wrong with it. I buy cupcakes from HEB and I plop a strawberry on the top. You can light it with alcohol, or fill it with alcohol, and you light it on fire and it becomes a flaming heart. And so that's just a fun like way to entertain your guests, to entertain your family, to try something new, just to have a little.
It's amazing. On your blog, you really go through detail by detail how to go step by step and do something like that and incorporate those recipes. And that's another way to bring that liturgical living into your home. Doing a little research and seeing, okay, what saint? Maybe there's that particular day is a feast day of a certain saint, and you're cooking, like you had mentioned in your recent one about tomorrow's solemnity of the Sacred Heart. You're going to be, you can make coq au vin, right?
Yep.
And you talked about the history of that.
Yep.
On your blog. So I really recommend everybody check that out and go to another thing that you had mentioned, because a lot of us think, where do we start, like you mentioned before? So planning ahead is very important, and tapping into the USCCB website, which I do every day because I always post the gospel of the day, and I like to look at that every single day. I like to read the gospel. I like to read the first reading and second reading and what is the psalm for the day. So it's a great site that you can actually have your own calendar and pull up the USCCB calendar and see what's coming ahead. You can do it month by month. Okay, for this month, what are the days that I should be aware of, and how can I start planning to celebrate some of those days in my home and with what I do.
I love that you brought up reading the readings, because that was something that my spiritual director had told me to do, and it's been kind of like an uphill battle. I'm not really in the routine yet, but it's a goal of mine because it really makes you more liturgically focused to know what is in the gospel, what are the readings talking about today, and like letting that kind of like center and shape your prayer life and kind of starting the day with that and having that in mind. But to your other point about like the bigger project of planning, right? Like we know kind of where we want to start, but enacting that is another step. And just like you would plan anything, like if you were trying to eat healthier, you'd meal plan. If you were trying to, integrate a hobby, you'd integrate that into your routine. This is another way to kind of build support for yourself so that it doesn't become overwhelming. It just becomes like a genuine lived experience. And that's really what I'm about here. It's not like adding another thing to the planner so that it's like these one-off activities, and those can be great, but the whole point of liturgical living is so that it shapes and forms who you are, and it forms your family culture. And at some point, I'd like for it to be effortless, right? Like I don't have to think about it as much because I've tried it for a couple of years now and it's been a part of my family. I want that to be other people's experience too, where at some point you release from the calendars and the planning, right? And it just becomes a part of who you are. But while we're in the planning phase, the USCCB is a great place to start. I create a monthly calendar. It's free. You can print it from my website and put it on your fridge, put it on the office, calendar, billboard like backboard that you have on your desk. And I use some of those ways to kind of just be a present reminder to myself. Reminding yourself there's saints every single day. The goal is not to celebrate all the saints, right? The goal is to find the saints that are going to help you live that more celebratory life, like leaning into the monthly devotion, like you mentioned, is to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, building a life of prayer. So as you're planning, what we do is, as a married couple, we put it down on our family calendar, saints that are important to us. When we go through, like, okay, do we feel like this one's special to us? And it's okay to say no. Like, you're not a bad Catholic. If like a certain saint you don't want to celebrate, that's okay. Maybe there are other ones that you can do, integrating prayer, like a once a week rosary with your husband or just by yourself or whatever that is. And kind of letting that calendaring process be your guide and be your security while you're forming those habits.
That's wonderful. And as you mentioned too, to establish a tradition, but that doesn't mean that if it just isn't the right fit, like you had said, that it's okay to maybe think of something else and incorporate something else. So you had mentioned that you brought in a lot of traditions, family traditions, that have been passed down. So a lot of people have those traditions, and maybe even you tweak that to make them your own too as well. So there's flexibility there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of what we took was from our own family. We were very blessed. We didn't have to start from scratch with liturgical living. Like my mother-in-law was doing it, my own family who wasn't very Catholic, but they were very good about celebrating seasons. And so I think when those two families kind of came under one roof through our marriage, we were able to carry on the things that were special to us and start new things that we wanted to do that our families maybe did not. And, my husband comes from an Italian background. I come from a Hispanic Irish background. And so I think clinging to culture as Catholic adults looking to live the year for ourselves, culture is very important and can be a real springboard for unpacking who am I, where did I come from, and what did those people do that I want to continue on and I want to be a part of in that bigger picture way.
I love the idea of setting up, and it doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be, something that is big, and maybe you have so many elements to just a simple prayer space or your own home altar. And you demonstrate that on your site, just how you go about it. And I love that. I love that you share that and giving us some tips about maybe where you shop to find these different things and what elements that you bring in. But just that sacred space in your home that you can go to that doesn't have the distractions, doesn't have television, and you just make that your quiet space, so you could have that conversation with God.
I feel like I'm nothing without my home altar now. I mean, I don't know how I lived without it. And and I'm not saying that to be cliche. I mean, when we put it up, it was accidental. Like, we had collected a lot of special pieces to us, and I wanted to put them up in a way that was like prayerful and beautiful. And then when I started doing some research, I saw like home altars, and I was like, oh man, I've got to jump on that. So yeah, I mean, you can essentially, what you're doing is you're putting together a space in your home where you can find some peace, where you can like escape the dishes, you can escape the tiredness of coming home and dropping your bags on the floor from work or from school or what have you. And you're really creating a place where you can connect with our Lord in your home. Replacement for going to adoration church, or of course, or anything like that, but as a way of saying, God dwells here in this home with me. And when I can't sleep, I can go sit there. When I've had a rough day, I can go sit there. When I just need to start my day with a cup of coffee and a scripture verse or what have you, I can go and dwell there. And you can put that together on the cheap. A lot of what I've found is from thrift shops. You know, thrift shops collect beautiful candle accessories. They collect beautiful Catholic images that people don't know, like these little treasures that they have, and I go scoop them up somehow.
And you know what I love too, you had an old piece of furniture that became your altar.
Yes.
And I mean, I found pieces, like you said, at thrift stores that I have refurbished, and I think it's just that much more special because you're bringing your own efforts and your own creativity and making it unique that way.
Yes.
And so you're right. You don't have to feel like you have to buy everything new, and it has to be just do it from your heart, and that's beautiful. So a great way to incorporate our Catholic faith into our home decor is to visit Liturgy Market.
Oh yeah.
On your website, because it's great. You have Liturgy Kitchen and Liturgy Home and so many different items. Yeah. So you'd find a vast array of items for feast days and seasons, and Steffani has it all broken down there. You can look under certain seasons and occasions, and so I encourage you to do that. And remember, those items make great gifts too. So when you're thinking about someone's birthday or wedding, baptism, any occasion, think about that. Think about giving those items that they too will be able to display in their home, and think about them as they pass by, and they will start living a liturgical life through those items. Do you have any items with you today from the Liturgy Market?
I have one. I wore them, but I just sold out, so I'm about to restock. So if anybody wants a pair, just go on there and click request a restock. But I brought this. I'm at work right now, so I'm in my office. But I did bring these. Are my Sacred Heart earrings. They are so cute and gold plated, and they're just really light and easy to wear, and I love them because they're just remind me of this devotion that my husband and I chose. But you know, when people see them, hopefully they remember that Jesus's heart pours out for them too, and just kind of this like conversation piece sometimes, like, hey, what's that heart with a flame? And you know, it's up a way to share. And so yes, on the market.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful. So everyone, go ahead and go to Steffani's page, and there you'll find the link to the website. So that would be the best way for anyone watching to connect with you, right, Steffani?
Yep, they can click on Steffani _ hisgirlsunday to check out my Instagram, and then from there, it's very easy to get to my website, or just come.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. It was great seeing you again. God bless you on your mission, and I'll look forward to all your creativity coming forth. Always love to see all of the different ideas is the different ways that we can celebrate our faith. So God bless you. Have a wonderful day and weekend.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such a blessing. Prayers for you.